everyone, this is Hannah.
And this is Angela.
And welcome to our podcast, Patches. So on this week's episode, we're going to be having an open discussion between us inspired by the YouTube channel Jubilee's media series, Spectrum. So the idea is that there is diversity in thought in any group of people under the same label. So groups that are stereotyped and lumped together as one are composed of human individuals, and each one deserves to be heard and humanized. So this series gets this idea across by gathering a group of people under the same label and reading out statements. Then the individuals in that group will stand in an area that represents their viewpoints on that statement and elaborate. So today in our episode, Angela and I will be discussing stances on certain statements that revolve around our identity as Chinese American teenagers living in the Bay Area.
I'm actually super excited to have this discussion because I feel like it's really important for us to recognize that there's differentiation in opinion, even though people are categorized under the same kind of stereotype or generalization. Just because we're both Chinese Americans and go to the same school, live in the same area, we still have a lot of different perspectives on certain ideas that are currently being discussed in social situations. So I'm super interested in seeing how this will turn out.
Yeah, okay. So our first statement is, the influx of Asian students into the Bay Area is the reason why it has become so competitive.
It's honestly something really interesting to think about because I honestly haven't thought about it that way. I really just kind of always thought of the Bay Area as a competitive place, but I never thought to consider why. And I feel like it's actually a good reason why it could be, because I think the population of Asian students in the Bay Area is probably greater than any other area. And Asian people, I guess, just based on my own family and my extended family, I would have to agree that we are rather competitive people. And especially since in our cultures we put so much emphasis and so much value on education, especially as immigrants. Yeah. Because our parents came over here so that we could have a better education. I feel like it makes a lot of sense why it would be so competitive, because even though nobody likes to see it this way, we're all competing against each other to get into college and stuff.
Yeah. So would you say like you strongly agree with the statement, or slightly agree, or like agree?
I think I somewhere in between somewhat and strongly. I guess like mostly agree.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, there's probably other reasons why this place has become so competitive, but just from haven't had any research, haven't had any data, it seems like a really good reason why it's so competitive now.
Yeah. Honestly, like, I think I also kind of accepted the way we are at face value and, like, never really thought for, like, the reason why we are the way that we are, like, why this area has the environment that it has. But honestly, like, I think I have to agree, like, because immigrant parents have worked so hard to get to where they are, like, they expect some kind, it's like an Asian culture thing, but, like, it's like you expect a return from your kids. Yeah. And it's, like, not a lot of Asian kids, like, in our new generation think that it's, like, a bad thing, like, that your parents expect, you know, something out of you because, like, they gave birth to you.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think that I understand, like, if you put so much work into, like, bringing your family here, having a family here, giving your children this kind of future, like, you would expect them to, like, you know, return to you something. It doesn't have to be, like, something great, but, like, just working hard in school or, like, you know, giving them a little bit of pride. And it's, like, I mean, it's not exactly how my family works, but, like, I would understand that perspective. So I think really the influx of, like, immigrant families, not just Asian, but just immigrant families in general, because, like, they've had to work so hard to get there where they are, like, they expect their children to work really hard. Okay, this next statement is, prejudiced people cannot be changed.
Yeah, I think the way that I see it, this is gonna sound very, like, what is it, like, cynical?
Yeah.
About people. But I think that no matter how hard you try someone who is set in their ways is always going to think the way that they do. And I think that there are going to be people like that who are open-minded and are willing to change, but I think a part of them, they're not going to share it, but a part of them is always going to think that way. And I think there's a difference between like being accepting on the outside and actually accepting it on the inside. Because there are people who can say, yes, I support LGBTQ rights and I support all of that, but on the inside, like, they're thinking,
that's kind of weird,
it's kind of wrong, like, it just doesn't, I don't understand how that works and how that can be the way that God intended or something like that, you know. I feel like it's great that they're like making that effort, but I feel like some, like, even if like the inside part is still like, even if the inside part is starting to accept it, I think there's always going to be a small part of them that's like, that's not right. You know? Or like, I disagree. Or I strongly agree with this, but on the outside, I'm going to like try to disagree. You know? I think that there's just not, I don't know, it's just the way that we are, you know? When you're raised thinking a certain way or just have been taught this since the beginning, it's just very hard to change. And I don't think that it's possible to completely have a 180 and just change your opinion.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, then, I guess my question would be, do you think that's okay? Like, are you willing to accept just the gesture?
Yeah, I think having somebody who is so set in their ways wanting to change, I think that's already a huge deal. And I feel like even if that small part of them still thinks a certain way, I feel like that doesn't mean that they don't want their opinion to change. Do you know what I mean?
I know
like,
what you mean.
It's like sometimes I experience this too, where sometimes there's something that I see and I'm like, I really want to support that, but I know like this part of me thinks differently, and like I want that to change, so I'm gonna make the effort to understand that and like to be open to that. And even though that small part of me might always like have a little doubt, I think that it's not necessarily a horrible thing. You know, because sometimes you just can't really change who you are and how you think. But the fact that you're willing to accept like other ideas and other beliefs and like you actually want your opinion to change, I feel like that's something like really really big and important.
I think that's like the question of like, can you change your human nature or something like that? But I mean, that's so hard, because I know that I believe that people can be changed, but I don't know how to explain why I do. But
yeah, that's your belief too. You know, I can't tell you to think differently.
Exactly. So like, I guess I could say I disagree. I mean, I totally understand what you're saying though, because there are a lot of like things that I have where like, it's like you want to make the effort to understand, but you won't change your belief. And like, that's not something that's bad. I think it's really stupid how much we expect from people. You know, you expect people to, you know, do this, do that, support everything, support this. But like, we're just human beings, and I think the effort to try to understand someone else is really good. But I mean, I guess if we're asking if prejudiced people can be changed, I think yes, with enough like experience or some kind of experience, some kind of event, like someone can truly be changed.
Okay.
But honestly, I don't really know how to explain why I believe that. Because I know that there's enough like evidence to back up one way and one evidence to back up another way. But I think just with enough of something happening, like something can be changed.
It's definitely one of those life's unanswerable questions, because we can't, like, we only know the way that we think. We don't know the way that other people are thinking.
Exactly.
But I think steps are always important. Small steps.
Okay. This next segment is super interesting. Super relevant to our area. It's having a college counselor perpetuates socioeconomic disparities regarding college admissions.
I mean, I agree mostly because of how expensive college counselors are.
Yes.
There are no... Maybe there's, like, a couple, like, a handful of college counselors who are willing to give a scholarship or something to a client. But I feel like most college counselors recognize how much money they can make off of students wanting to get into college. And I feel like that's almost the entire industry. It's just people that know how the college admission system works and are willing, and people are incredibly willing to pay for that. But there are people who can't.
Yeah.
Right? And that's just kind of the economic disparity.
Yeah.
Right? It's just that some people are able to afford stuff like college counselors, tutoring, and boot camps, and all of that, and like summer programs and stuff that can make your college application look so amazing.
Yeah.
Right? And then there are people who don't have any of the resources to be able to afford any of that. Honestly, nobody explained to us how the college admission system worked until we had to apply. Right? I didn't even know what the Common App was.
Yeah.
And how it worked until I actually had to use it.
Yeah.
And I still don't think I really understand what they were looking for in that. And I feel like some people who have... I mean, there's even disparities in, like, the type of counselor that you'll get. Like, how much money you're paying definitely changes the quality of the counselor. You know, the ones that, like, really, really know what they're doing are paying, like, tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And it's just, like, it's kind of crazy to think about because some people can't even afford paying a couple $100s for that kind of counselor.
It's true. Yeah, I think that the question is really tough because it kind of brings so much more into this question of, like, did certain people deserve their admission over other people? But it also brings in the whole question of, like, is the college admission system fair? Which obviously we already know the answer is no, it's not fair. But I guess looking at this question, I would believe that having a college counselor, having, like, boot camps, having summer programs, like honestly, all these summer programs, it's like, it's based on if you can pay it or not. It's like, it's not really based on, like, you know, your skill set. It's like, can you afford to dish out $6,000 for a summer camp at like a prestigious university?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think a lot of, like, teachers or, like, a lot of parents, they don't even understand, like, college counselors, like, people pay like 10,000, 15, like, thousand. People pay. Actually, I know people, like, there's a tutoring place that, like, charges 5-digit, like, numbers for tutoring.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean,
it's kind of
and it's like, it's not their fault because they have the ability to take advantage of that resource, so why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
But it's also totally, like, making this difference between people who can afford this and people who can't afford this, like, even larger. It's like, a college counselor knows what a college is looking for. They know how to spice up your application. They know how to present you in the best way possible for you to be attracted to this college. And it's like, you know, no one ever taught us, like you were saying, no one taught us about the Common App. No one taught us about coalition, you know?
Yeah.
So we don't honestly know what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we can be expected to know what we're doing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if we all didn't know what we were doing, then it would be better if some people really knew what they were doing and other people really didn't.
Yeah.
And, like, I guess there are a lot of, like, free resources, but it's, like, not the same as someone who's been in the industry, who has been around, like, college readers, like, someone who understands the ins and outs.
Yeah.
To help you with your application.
Yeah.
While someone else is, like, just trying to figure it out on their own.
Alright, so that puts an end to our discussion for today. I definitely had a lot of fun making this podcast, and I'm super grateful for the opportunity to talk about these topics with Hannah. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.